In August, the LSAT goes back inside a testing center for almost everybody. At-home testing for the LSAT is ending. After about 6 years, you're no longer taking it on a webcam from home at the kitchen table. You're back to going in person in a testing center with an in-person proctor the whole time. And a lot of folks are thinking this is the thing that finally makes law school easier to get into. But at the same time, you've got to consider that more than 75,000 people applied to law school this cycle, almost a third more than 2 years ago. And they're walking in with the highest LSAT and GPA medians ever. And so the question everyone is asking right now is, with the LSAT going back to in-person, will law school admissions finally get easier? The short answer is no. If you've been tracking the medians, you might know that your target school's median might have been a 170 when you started studying for the LSAT, but now it's a 172. And so you're chasing a number that moves while you're running at it. The ground really is shifting under you. Now, there are two things that are supposedly about to crack this open and change the game. Some people are thinking the switch back to in-person testing in August is going to change things. A lot of other folks also aren't aware that there is this demographic cliff. Some of you may have seen it in the headlines. But let's talk about how we got here first. A couple of years ago, a 170 LSAT score was like a golden ticket, 97th percentile, at or above the median at nearly every single law school except maybe a couple at the top. But now, people get a 174 and could still end up on a wait list. A perfect 180 with a strong GPA isn't a lock on the top 14 anymore. Even with perfect numbers, still not a lock. And most people blame logic games going away. But LSAC's own data shows the score climb actually started about 7 years ago before they removed logic games. In other words, scores were already rising before logic games was removed from the test. But there are a lot of other changes that led to the LSAT score inflation. One of them being that LSAC doubled the number of testing dates. 4-year went to 8-year. They also loosened the LSAT retake limits, and they also rolled out LSAT score preview, which let you see your score first before deciding whether to cancel it and delete it if you don't like it. So imagine a student takes the LSAT in the fall, gets a 166, doesn't love it, cancels their score. Schools never see that 166. A couple months later, the student takes it again, gets a 171 and keeps it. So on the application, it is a 171, like the bad day never happened. Now, the median you're staring at on a school's website is not built from one and done scores. It's everybody's best of 3, 4, maybe even 5 tries. So you've got way more at-bats than anyone might realize. Now, GPAs have also been rising. LSAC says GPA inflation got so bad that college GPAs barely separate anybody now. So schools lean harder on the one number that still sorts people, being your LSAT. Now, there are a couple of things people think are about to knock numbers down a bit. I think they're wrong. The big number one, of course, is the August LSAT switch. The theory is that at-home testing made it easier for people to cheat, or at least more comfortable while taking it to get higher scores. You put everybody back in a locked room with a proctor, inflated scores fall back down. And there is something to that. LSAC basically said so. By their own numbers, remote testers are about 40% of all test takers, but they are the majority of LSAT score holds. A score hold, for those who aren't aware, is the flag they put on a result while they investigate it. So at home is the minority of test takers, but the majority of the flags. That's a big reason why they're going back to in-person testing. And if you only ever studied at your own desk in your own chair with your own coffee, that familiar, comfortable environment, taking it in person might rattle you a little bit. So what I would recommend is, of course, you take your practice tests under real conditions right now so that you'll stay calm on test day itself. So maybe scores will drop a little bit with the return to in-testing, but you can't bet your whole testing cycle on that. I think that would be a mistake because, of course, score holds are real, but they're not the main engine. They're not the biggest issue of all. The climb in scores is not due to cheating in most part, I don't think. It's more due to people retaking, people studying more of the score preview. And so all of that follows you into the testing center. And even if scores are going to drop a little bit, it's going to be a gradual, slow decline. Because if LSAC allows scores to drop significantly, that would basically confirm all the cheating, and LSAC doesn't want that headline. So if it does come down, it's going to come down quietly, slowly over time, not between now and the fall. And even if scores do deflate, it's not going to help you because if other people's scores deflate, yours are probably also deflating at the same time. If the LSAT median went from a 174 to a 171 at a top school for everybody all at once, you're probably in the exact same spot. It's not about your exact number. It's about how you compare it to other people in the stack against everybody else applying. Deflation isn't really going to help you because you'll be affected just the same. Now, a lot of people are also placing their hopes on the demographic cliff, leading to a decline in the number of people applying to law school. For those who aren't aware, ever since the 2008 Great Recession, fewer kids were born. Birth rates declined. So the number of high school graduates peaked around 2025, near 3.9 million, and now it's going to slide in the coming years. By the early 2040s, maybe 13% fewer freshmen now, eventually fewer of everybody downstream, including law school applicants. So the thought is maybe you just wait it out. But one problem here is the timing. The cliff is an 18-year-old story. It's about the kids starting college right now, but the average law school applicant is not 18 years old. They're in their mid-20s, often older than that. And so the cliff isn't going to reach the law school applicant pool until the late 2020s at the earliest, more likely the 2030s. So if you're in high school, maybe it'll help you, but if you're applying in the next year or 2 or 3, it's not coming to save you. And right now, the pool is doing the opposite of shrinking. It's increasing, it's flooding. Applicants are up double digits 2 years running. When the white-collar job market gets shaky, people run back to graduate school the way they did after 2008. A laid-off consultant and analyst whose job got automated, they're applying to law school with you. And so the pool got bigger and tougher all at once. The demographic cliff is real. I'm not saying it's not, but it's showing up years from now, and it's going to hit colleges first, a long way upstream from law school. Now, things are messy. I'm not going to pretend they're not. August 2026 into the next year, things are going to be shaky. No one really knows what's happening, to be frank, and nobody's recalibrated to the new LSAT score reality or the new testing platform. And so in a transition like this, if you're genuinely strong, the chaos could break your way. But you can't bet 3 years and 6 figures of tuition on that. So what you want to do is properly prepare. While everybody else is panicking about taking the LSAT in person and the new user interface, you've already run timed sections in those exact conditions. The test will feel normal to you and foreign to them. If you can get that level of comfort in a transition year like this, that gap is going to be huge. And so you focus on your skills on this test. The LSAT is 2 things right now. Logical reasoning is 2/3. Reading comp is the other third. No logic games, of course. These are trainable skills. And most people say by taking test after test, measuring their results, being happy or sad about those, and then moving on to the next. But the real work is, of course, going back into the test you just took and finding the reason you got each question wrong or had difficulty with each one. Maybe it's an assumption that you missed. Maybe it's the trap you walked into. You do that over and over until you stop falling for those tricks and traps. You understand the patterns of the test. And if you want my help getting your score up for the medians, to beat the medians whenever you're applying to law school, whether it's August, September, October, November, whatever you're taking it, I'm here to help you out. I'm offering a free LSAT tutoring lesson for everybody watching this now or later. You can book that free tutoring lesson with me personally at unpluggedprep.com/start. The link is below the video on YouTube, pinned in the chat on YouTube, in my bio on TikTok and IG.